Hi friends, let's see the app we are going to develop in the next couple of lessons. When you run this app, this is the main option screen. You will see a menu which is on a table view. So I can click on say employee options, then it will load this data, and all the employee data are loaded dynamically from a data source, right? And then I can click on employee, and then it's dynamically changing this page with that particular employee and the projects. If I go back and click another employee, you can see the same page is dynamically changing with that employee and the projects, which are all loaded dynamically. The images are also loaded dynamically from a data source, right? So it's different images loaded dynamically. And then I can delete employees. Let's say I can swipe and say delete, then it deletes the data, right? If not, I can click on edit and say if I want to delete something, click on this and click delete, right? And when I'm done, I can say done, right? And then further I can insert data dynamically. Let us say a section P and say Peter, for example, and click OK. So it all gets added dynamically, right? Then once I'm done with employees, I can go scroll down, right? And then I can go into department options, right? So department, and do the same thing for department, right? But it's very important that you have to make sure to look at the next couple of lectures in this on table views, that is part 1, 2, 3, etc., until we complete this app. It explains all the theory and the practical knowledge which you need to know about developing this app, right? Okay friends, we are very excited to show you how to develop this app practically, and let's do it now. Okay friends, so the following is the outcome of this part of the lesson. When you complete this part of the lesson, your app will look like this until you complete the other parts of the lesson. It will display a list of employees dynamically in a table view controller. But the most important thing is this part shows you how to do event handling, right? So you can click on each cell and it nicely identifies which cell you have clicked, right? Ashley and, right? So this gives you essential important knowledge, right? For you to develop the complete app. But after you complete this lesson, make sure to go and look at the next lessons in order to complete the full app demonstrated earlier. Hi friends, this lesson is table views, dynamic content, event handling part 1, and we are very excited to take you through this lesson, and let's see what's inside this. So it's okay, we'll be using Xcode version 11.4.1 for the practicals and Apple developer docs for referencing, and the lesson is event handling. So we have done a few lessons on table views, static content and dynamic content, and dynamic content using table view controllers and table views. But this is the official kind of like the official first lesson on event handling, right? So for the event handling, we'll be using the delegate protocols, right? So if you remember, when we to fill the data, we use the data table view data source protocol, right? Now for this we are going to use UI table view delegate protocol, right? Let's see how we do the event handling part, my friends, right? Prerequisite, you have to do the previous lessons on table view static content, table views dynamic content, UI table view controller part 1 to 5 actually. Then UI table view dynamic content, UI table view part 1 to 2. So make sure that you do all these previous lessons, and you have look at some of the previous basic lessons on Objective C as well. In this session you will learn, you will continue using UI table view controller to display list of employee names. Then we will start to use the UI table view delegate protocol, and we'll override the delegate methods required to handle click event. And we will use your alert action to display, let us say, the selected item, right? Lesson plan is going to be a practical demonstration, right? So let's continue from one of our previous projects where we stopped. So this project is the UI. This is the one of our previous projects under the heading table views, dynamic content, UI table view controller part 5, right? So we will give a link to this code below this, in the download section in this series, right? Because we have done this earlier. Now we are going to use that code and do the event handling part. So once again, this is table view. This code is table view dynamic content, your table view controller part 5 lesson, the code of that lesson, right? Okay, my friends. So if you don't have it, check for the download link for this, right? So let's straight away run this and see what was the out, just to recall, right? What's the output, right? So this is the outcome of that project, right? So you remember we put this data, right, the employees, and we have categorized them. And so I hope you all remember the code, right? So this is that code where we have the stuff, right? Now our objective is to do the delegate method, such as, let's start with the click event, right? So if I click on this, let us say I want to know what's the name I have clicked, for example, right? Fishers or Frank or George, whoever it is, right? So let's see how we are going to do it. Right now, for this you will be using the table view, UI table view delegate protocol methods, right? Let's see what this protocol is used for. It has the methods for managing selections, configuring section headers and footers, deleting and reordering cells, performing other actions, right? Let's see what are these other actions. So overview, use the methods of this protocol to manage the following features: create and manage custom headers and footer views, specify custom height for raw headers and footers. These are the things you do using this protocol, right? Custom heights for headers, raw headers and footers, provide height estimates, right? Indenting the raw content. Okay, respond to raw selection. This is what we are going to do in this lesson. Respond to raw selections. That means the click event, right? Then also you can do things like responding to swipes, right? Other actions in the table rows. Like we'll do that as well in one of the other lessons after this, right? And support editing tables content. That also we will do in one of the other lessons in after this, right? Awesome. So then in order to respond to raw selections, right? So if you go down, see responding to raw selections, right? You got a section called handling raw selections in a table view. Let's open that. Also selecting multiple items, right? Then these are some of the methods. Select raw at index part, tells delegate raw is about to get, will select, tells the delegate raw is selected. So this is the method I want, right? Did select raw at index path, right? And then we look at the handling raw selections in a table, right? So it talks about configuring raw selection behavior, whether to allow the selections or allow multiple selections, right? So you can you can add those, right? Let's look at a few of these, right? Allow multiple selections and responding to raw selections, right? So this is that did select raw at index path, right? So this is that method, right? Okay, and let's look, select a row programmatically. Well, you can select the rows programmatically, managing. So there are lots of things you can do, right? So let's take the baby steps, right? Let's do one by one. Let's look at this as well, right? So allows selection, right? A boolean value that determines whether user can select or not, right? So let's see if the value of this property is yes, which is the default, user can select rows. If it's no, then they cannot select the rows, right? Setting this property affects cell selection only when the table view is not in editing mode, right? So we look at all this step by step. Let's start with the click event, right? Let's start with the click event. Now you saw the method is did select raw at index path. So what you should do is, well, now as you remember, now you are in a table view controller, right? So you are customizing a subclass of UI table view controller. So as you remember, the UI table view controller by default, right? It is inheriting, it is confirming, right, to these two protocols, right? It confirms to the UI table view data source and the UI table view delegate protocol. So what you have to do is just override the methods, right? So you don't have to say that it's going to confirm, because it's already default. We have seen in our previous lesson that it confirms. So what you have to do is just override the methods, right? So you have to see whether that method is anywhere here, which is did select raw at index path, right? So if you look at this, because these are auto generated methods, if I go down, I can't see that method here, so which means I have to write it, right? So what you do is just type that, right? Just type did. So you saw the method, right? So table view did select raw at index path. So you just type that did select, then you will get that, my friends, right? So just select that now, right? Just select that, and it will write the skeleton code for you, and then you have to just, start doing this. So let's put ns log to start with, and let's just print a message to say, okay, let's say without anything we will say item clicked, right? Let's see whether it works, right? Let's straight away run this and see whether it works. So if I select item, I'm expecting it to print item click. Let's see, right? Let's click, right? Let's see, something came, right? Awesome, it's working. As you can see, it says item click. So if I click on item, it says item click, right? So these are ns log messages, right? Awesome. So that means the click event is working. Now let's say I want to know where I have clicked. So when I say where I have clicked, where means say the section number, and then inside that section the row number. For example, if I click here, and that is section 1 row 1, but because these indexes are 0 base, it's 0 0. Then this is section 1 row 2, but because indexes are 0 base, then it's 0 1. Now if I take the Frank, if I click on Frank, that means the location is section 2 row 1, but index wise it's 1 0. So this is 0 0 0 1. This is 1 0 1 1 1 2. This is 2 0 2 1. So just think what I said, index wise, right? So that I can find with the parameter index path, right? Index path. So I can print it here, right? I can say item clicked, right? Let's say item clicked at, right? At, right? So item clicked at. Now you can print it. You can say, okay, index path dot section, comma, index path dot row, right? You can find it. Then you have to give the format specifier here, right? So let's say %d, for example. Let's put a comma and say %d, right? Right? Awesome, right? And let's try to compile it, right? Okay, I'm getting a warning. It says value of ns integer. So these are ns integers, should not be used as format argument at the explicit casting. So it says instead of this, it's asking to do a slight change. I'm going to say fix it, right? So when I say fix, it does that fix. Again, it gives the same warning. So I will say replace this fix. So what it does is it casts it, and then it just prints it as a long, right? So these are just minor things. Now let's run and see whether it will give me the exact section and the row, right? So let's click here. As you know, it should be 0 0. Awesome, it says 0 0. Now this one should be what? Just think. 0 1, right? Awesome, see, it says 0 1. Okay, we'll take a random one. What should be this one? Fishers? What do you think? It should be 1. Okay, because it's section 1, meaning the second one is section. So 1 1 1. Awesome, right? How about Gibson? What do you think? Okay, 0 1 2 2 0 1 2 1, right? Just think of that. See, it's working. So now I know where it has been clicked. Okay, now the next task is when I click on a name, I want to print that name, right? I just want to print, right? So now I can get the name from this location. And where are my names? If you remember, my names are in a ns array, right? So it's a matter of using this ns array and outputting it, because it's a multi-dimensional array and it's corresponding to the sections and the rows. So it's a matter of giving the section number and the row number. In other words, if it's the array, it's giving the row number and the column number in terms of the array, right? So what I have to do now is I can just say ns log, right? Ns log, right? And I can say, okay, right? Let's say now I want to get the item click. So first of all, I put it into a variable, right? Ns string item clicked, right? And from that array, what's that array? List of names. So it's a matter of giving the section number and the row number, right? It's a matter of giving the section number and the row number. Then you will get that item, right? Then you can say the item clicked is equal to, you can display it when you have to give the format specifier, right? Like this. So now it should tell you what item has been clicked, because you are getting it from the array because you know what location has been clicked, right? So let's run this, my friends, right? So when you run this, let's see what's going to happen. If I click on Fishers, awesome, it says item clicked is Fishers. If I click on George, it says item clicked is George. So that means it's working. Gibson, awesome. Ashley, wonderful, my friends, right? So now we know how to figure out where it has been clicked, right? The click event, right? Next things, I would like to display it like alert, right? So instead of printing it into the console, let's say I would like to print it as an alert as well, right? So how do I print alert, right? So for that, you will use a class called UIAlertAction. Okay, friends, right? So if you look at, you got a class called UIAlertAction, right? So the UIAlertAction, I'm sorry, it's UIAlertController, right? Not alertAction, because UIAlertAction is deprecated, right? Okay, no, UIAlertView actually. So UIAlertView is deprecated, but instead of that, you have to use UIAlertController, and the UIAlertController will have a UIAlertAction internally, right? So the stories, you will use UIAlertController, not a UIAlertView, right? Because UIAlertView is deprecated. So you can see, if you try to use UIAlertView, it will tell that it's deprecated, right? So let me show it to you. So over here, if I try to use UIAlertView, see, it's crossed red color, which means it's deprecated, right? And it will tell you that it's deprecated, and it will give a message and say, instead of that, use UIAlertController, right? So how do I use a UIAlertController is always, my friends, refer the developer docs, right? So in the UIAlertController, it's a class, it displays alert message, right? If you go down, it says configuring and presenting an alert. So this is the code snippet you have to use to present an alert. So I'm copying that code snippet and I'm going to put it into my code just here, right? So what does this do? It creates a UIAlertController for me. So I can give a title for it. So let's say the title is, I would like to say, okay, you clicked, right? And whatever the message you want to display. So the message is, I want to display the item clicked, right? My variable, right? This one. So I'm going to put that variable here as the message. Okay, friends, right? Awesome, right? And the preferred style. And then with UIAlertController, you will be using a UIAlertAction, right? So this is standard way of doing it. So in the UIAlertAction, you can tell what button you want. Is it OK button, or is it yes button? Is it no button? So okay, in this case, it says it needs OK button, and the style is UIAlertAction style default, and a handler. This handler means whenever you click this button, what do you want to do, right? If you want to do some operation or some certain actions, then you can give it as the handler as a block. So if you don't know about blocks, please look at one of our previous lesson about Objective-C blocks. So this is a block where you where you pass here, right? Now it's going to be anonymous block actually, right? But in this case, in a simple alert, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to touch that, right? Because you don't want to do anything. When you click OK, you just want the alert to go away. So then you don't have to do anything, right? Then what you do is, for this UIAlertController, you have to say add action. You have to call this method, and you have to pass this action, right, as a parameter. So for the alert, you have to pass the message add action, meaning you have to call the method and pass this parameter UIAlertAction, and then you have to present, right? You have to present this UIAlertController, right? So this is how you present. Let me also copy that and put it as a comment, right? So what I'm doing is I'm configuring, and let me put that comment first. So I'm configuring and presenting an alert. So this does that, right? Okay, friends, let's run and see whether it will come in action, right? So I'm expecting alert as well in addition to that console outputs, right? So okay, it's working, friends. So it says you clicked Fishers, and the OK is because in the alert action I said OK. So if I said yes here, it will say yes, right? But I'm happy with OK, right? Frank, awesome, you clicked Frank, right? So now I know how to handle a click event, and not only that, I know how to, for example, if I need that, how to display something, right? Awesome. So this is our first lesson on event handling, my friends, right? So what we did was, we use this UI data source delegate UI table view delegate protocol, right? And then we override the click event basically. So the click event is this did select row at index path, right? So we did a nice event handling lesson, and let's see whether we have covered everything, right? Let's see what we have to do next. Okay friends, so we did the practical demonstration. Conclusion, we continue to use the UI table view controller to display a list of names, and important thing is we use UI table view delegate protocol, right? And to override the delegate methods, right, required to handle the click event, we use not the action, right? So we use the UIAlert controller. So we use the UIAlert controller to display the selected item, and we did some practicals. You can find the link to download the source code for the projects done in this session in the relevant download section in this series, right? Reference, we use Apple Developer Docs. So what's next? Have a look at our other videos for practicals on table views, dynamic content, event handling. Also have a look at our other videos on Objective-C A to Z in this series. Also make sure to have a look at other series on machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science and IoT, because that's where the future is moving. Okay friends, it was an exciting time with you, and we will wait. We are very excited to take you to the next session, right? So until we see you in the next session, see you until that.